In the skills survey, most of you seem to be pretty comfortable with visual merchandising, but there were a few areas where you needed a little extra help. And creating great signage was one of those areas. So in this little piece of training, special skills training for you, I'm going to talk about how to create great merchandise signs and how they can be a silent salesperson for you in your store. One of the really important things to keep in mind when you're thinking about visual merchandising is that the goal of visual merchandising isn't really to make your products look good. The goal of visual merchandising is really to be used as in-store marketing. That's what it is. It's the in-store marketing of your merchandise. The reason that you want to make it look good is a marketing reason. And one of the most effective marketing things you can do for your store, for your in-store visual merchandising, is create really effective merchandise signs. And I think the best merchandise signs start with a benefit headline. They don't start by talking about the product or give the name of the product. They start by giving a headline that tells about why the product is important to your customer. So for example, let's say you have a garden center and you have a display of ground cover that you're trying to sell in the spring. You might want to put a sign by one of your ground covers that starts with a headline like this: great ground cover for shady spots. So if you've got a ground cover that's specifically really good in the shade, that would be a benefit for the customer who's coming in looking for something to put in a shady spot in their yard. So instead of giving the name of the ground cover right away, start by telling that it's great for shady spots. That's a great headline. Now the next thing you could do is then you can start to talk about the specific product. And maybe you could write a little description saying something like, sweet woodruff is a 4 to 6 inch tall plant. It's a ground cover that blooms in the spring with tiny white flowers, grows quickly, and will fill in within 1 year. So you could write a little description about the ground cover next, and then lastly give the price, maybe small flat for $9.99, something like that. So you start with the benefit headline, then a short description of the product, and lastly the price. And your sign might end up looking something like this. So let's do another example. Maybe you have a pet store, just in a different industry, just to give you the idea about how to write these kinds of signs. So let's say that you're bringing in a line of new leashes that are specifically for small dogs. And they're really great for small dogs. And you might start with a headline like this: safest leash for small dogs. Because for the pet owner who loves their dog, having a safe leash that doesn't get tangled around their neck or their legs, that's really important. So you might start with the benefit, safest leash for small dogs. And then you could go on and tell the name of the new line of leashes and give the price range of this new line of leashes that you're carrying in the store. And your sign might end up looking something like this. The thing to keep in mind is that these signs, because they really focus on the customer and what they're looking for, rather than focusing on the merchandise, act as mini salespeople in your store. Your customer can look around, they know what they're looking for, they know what their problem is, or they know what they want in your store, and if they can read these signs that really tell them exactly what's going on with the product and help them fill their needs, they act as a mini salesperson, and they're really effective. So use great signage for your items, and that really helps market the merchandise in your store. It's a super important part of visual merchandising.